Am I the asshole for refusing to eat a dish my boyfriend pre-ordered at a restaurant? I feel like this is stupid, but there's been a lot of drama because of this, so I just want to get some clarity on if I'm the asshole or not. My boyfriend and I, both 22M, are currently on an extended weekend trip to celebrate finishing our exams yesterday and just unwind a bit. When we made plans a few weeks ago, he excitedly told me that he knew a great restaurant for Peking duck and asked if I wanted him to make a reservation there. I said sure, not thinking anything of it and pretty much forgetting about it until yesterday evening. I don't want to share too much about where we live and where we went, but basically we left immediately after our morning exams and got on a train that took about 6 hours. When we got to the hotel we unpacked, and after just chilling for half an hour he told me we had to get ready and then go quickly to not miss our reservation at 7 p.m. It was a bit hectic, but we arrived in time. When we sat down I looked at the menu and asked what he was thinking of getting. He looked at me confused and said, "Well, the duck obviously? That's why we're here, but we can order some appetizers if you're very hungry." I told him, yeah, maybe some dim sum, and then I was thinking of having the spicy noodles. He then said, "What do you mean? We're both having the duck?" To which I told him I wasn't really feeling the duck, but he could go ahead and order it himself. He got kinda snappy with me, though not anything crazy, and told me that Peking duck was a dish that had to be pre-ordered and that they also don't do half portions. It's a whole duck and he wasn't gonna be able to eat all of it. I asked if he could get something else and he said no, he already agreed to pay for it by pre-ordering. He also asked me to just get the duck so it wouldn't be wasted. I told him I'm sorry and that I didn't know that, but that I didn't want to eat the duck. He then got really mad, saying that he explicitly asked me if I wanted to do this, and that if I didn't he wouldn't have made this reservation and spent €80 on a duck I wasn't gonna eat. I told him sorry again, but that I wasn't gonna eat the duck. For the rest of the dinner he pretty much gave me a cold shoulder and now he's still not really talking to me. Am I the asshole? I have never been somewhere you didn't have to pre-order Peking duck. It sounds clear to me he was asking you if you wanted to gut out for Peking duck? How did you not understand? I would say for 22 yo, nah. He communicated very poorly, but if my wife was that excited about a duck place that was 6 hours away with reservations, I would have eaten the duck for her. You are the asshole. You said in a comment there was no moral or dietary reason, and that you normally love duck just weren't in the mood. Your boyfriend probably knew you loved duck. Thus he suggested you go 6 hours away to go to a place that had great duck. When you realize you will be eating duck instead of noodles you make it a thing. I was going with NaH until I saw the "I love duck" comment and chalk it up to miscommunication, but knowing that I see why your boyfriend assumed you realized it was a pre-order thing. Edit. In other comments you've acknowledged you've had Peking duck while out, but it wasn't something you ordered as it was always family style. That wasn't a clue for you that Peking duck is family style food? I'm going to go with you are the asshole on this. Not because you didn't know about Peking duck. That was just a miscommunication between the two of you, but because you then turned it into a thing. You should have just eaten the duck. That's what we do for people we care about. You turned it into some kind of prideful, "you aren't the boss of me" kind of thing, and that shouldn't have happened. He was excited about the duck. You should have just done that for him. Personally, I would have just eaten the duck. I don't think you're an asshole for not doing so, but unless you actively dislike duck, it seems like it's not really worth the trouble. Soft, you are the asshole. Boyfriend should have been more clear about the restaurant requirements, and refusing to talk to you is juvenile. However, once you knew that he had already ordered the duck and it couldn't be cancelled, you should have just gotten an appetizer and eaten the duck, unless you don't eat duck for some moral or dietary reasons, which boyfriend should have known. I have eaten a lot of stuff that I wasn't in the mood for because my partner was trying to share something they loved. Am I the asshole for yelling at my aunt to shut up in front of a restaurant full of people? When I, 30M, was 5, my family took me to one of those Japanese steakhouses where they cook the food at your table. When the cook lit the grill and the huge flame shot up into the air, it scared the heck out of me and I ran and hid in the corner and was too afraid to come back to the table. My aunt, 64F, has teased me about that ever since. That was 25 years ago and I swear she brings it up every single time I see her. I've told her repeatedly to stop talking about it. My parents have also asked her to stop bringing it up, to no avail. It's gotten so tiresome and embarrassing, and she teases me about it in front of the whole family despite me repeatedly telling her to stop. And #X200B. I've never really gotten along well with my aunt, and lately I've made it a point to avoid her at family gatherings. We celebrated my birthday Friday and I wanted to go to one of those Japanese steakhouses. I didn't invite my aunt, but my grandmother invited her behind my back. I didn't know she was coming until she showed up. I was already pissed off that my grandmother invited her. She told me that my aunt is family and I can't just exclude her from everything. But as soon as we sat down, my aunt started ribbing me about that incident when I was 5. I told her to stop bringing it up and my mom told her to stop as well. But when the cook was fixing to light the hibachi, she asked me in this really condescending way, "You sure you don't want to go hide in the corner for old time's sake?" I finally just lost my temper and went off on her right there in front of the whole restaurant. I basically yelled at her, "Will you just shut up about that already? That was 25 years ago. Is that literally all you have to talk about? I'm sick of hearing about it. This is why I didn't invite you." I swear the entire restaurant must have been staring at me and I felt like just walking out. The entire rest of the dinner was awkward and I couldn't even enjoy my meal. After we left, my grandmother told me that I embarrassed her in front of everyone and that my outburst was completely uncalled for and that I owed my aunt an apology. My parents told me I didn't owe my aunt anything and were angry at my grandmother for inviting her, but I still feel like an asshole for losing my temper and yelling in front of the restaurant, and the whole thing was deeply embarrassing. My grandmother and my aunt are also both blasting me on Facebook for embarrassing them in public. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole, she's a bully, and your grams kinda sucks for inviting her behind your back. Not the asshole. She had been told, warned repeatedly to stop. For this to go on for 25 years is ridiculous. You had every right to do what you did because obviously it was going to take extreme measures for her to shut up. You embarrassed her? That is what she has been doing to you for 25 years. Your grandmother was out of line to invite someone to your birthday party that she knew you did not want there. Blast them back. They are not owed an apology. Not the asshole. Sure, you could have handled it more cordially. But what your aunt is doing to you borders on emotional abuse and you have absolutely no obligation to put up with it. Your grandmother and your aunt are AITAH. Your parents are right and I'm glad you have that support. Regardless of what your grandmother does, I suggest you continue to exclude your aunt. Your folks have your back. Not the asshole, and your grandmother owes you an apology. You don't invite people to someone else's party. Stop inviting grandma as well. I don't think you're an asshole. Your aunt sounds obnoxious. Funk the I can embarrass you for 25 years but you can't embarrass me. AITAH for eating beans around a coworker I knew was allergic? 38 male. Love it when my wife packs me lunch. 36F. One of my favorite things she packs me is ribs, mac and cheese, and a wonderful side of beans. This past year I haven't been able to bring it in the office or at all because my coworker, I'll call Jane, 27F, is extremely allergic. Keep in mind we work on different floors but I have made an extra precaution just to be safe. This week I knew she would be away on one of the out-of-country business trips. I figured, hey, she's not gonna be here. I haven't had it in a while. Let's ask my wife to make it for me. My wife was so excited to make it since she hadn't made it in a while, the beans specifically. She's a chef, so on Monday, the day after my coworker left, I got my lunch out. Keep in mind I drove her to the airport so I was 1009% sure she left. I happily started eating when Jane walked in. She yelled at me for eating beans and risking her health. I asked her about the trip and she said that she wasn't actually going, she just wanted the week off and came in to grab her laptop charger from my office. I felt absolutely terrible that I risked her health. A lot of my coworkers said I was an asshole. I reported myself to HR but they said that she was the one in trouble for using a work trip as an excuse to stay home as she was supposed to be presenting, and we have lost thousands of dollars for her lying. I feel so conflicted. I think I'm the asshole for risking her health but my family and friends are saying I did nothing wrong. I don't know. Am I the asshole? Update. So she got fired. I feel terrible but also relieved. I found out only because the work group chat blew up with her calling me slurs and cussing me out. She also showed up to my house and I had to call the cops for her trespassing. Long story short, she was extremely high, drunk, the whole 9 yards. Safe to say I will be getting my beans at work now. Not the asshole. I think it's safe to say that you'll probably be able to eat beans every day from now on due to her own action. Not the asshole. Also, how is your eating them near her gonna affect her? I really have a difficult time believing she is that allergic. She sounds like she may have an issue with the truth. Not the asshole. She was at fault and you did nothing wrong. What I do not understand is why she asked you to drive her to the airport. Not the asshole. Not only did she lie about a work trip, she had the nerve to get a ride to the airport just for show. With gas prices the way they are. Then she was stupid enough to go into work. She's the asshole. 1000%. She should be fired for lying like she did. Not the asshole. She lied about a work trip. Great way to get fired. I suspect you'll be able to eat your beans at work without any issues from now on. I've read a lot of completely unrealistic stories on here, but this one absolutely takes the cake. Am I the asshole for saying my sister deserved to be bullied? Sister is 16, female. Right after school ended for the summer, she showed our parents the bullying she had been dealing with since January. It went right up into the summer and was relentless apparently. Our parents were outraged and they contacted some at the school to complain and say a meeting needs to be held so nothing like this can happen in September. My parents looked for me to support my sister before I leave town for college. I'm staying somewhere else already but still local. I told them I was not going to support her or be her shoulder to lean on. That she was all theirs and I wished them luck. They said my sister has been through hell and she deserves my support, my love, and to know she has people behind her. I told them my sister deserved what she got and maybe she can now learn. For context, my sister has been a bully since she was about 6. It started small and super childish. But over the years she has bullied more than a dozen kids and she's been the reason at least 2 kids in her class transferred schools mid-year. She's spread rumors about girls being pregnant. She has told kids they were ugly and should wear paper bags over their head. She has spoiled kids' lunch, has stolen from others, has called people diseased, and made a huge deal about not going near this one girl because people might catch something. Even going as far as leaving her without a partner in class one time. And the school calling our parents because she stood up in front of everyone and said she was a walking disease and nobody wanted to catch that off her. So that's who my sister is and that's the reason I said she deserved it. Because to me, it might be the only way she can learn, and honestly, I'm not even sure I love her with how I have seen her treat others. Even me she hasn't been great to. My parents think I am the worst ever though. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your parents and sister need a wake-up call. Hopefully this is it. Not the asshole. Your parents need to have a much different conversation with your sister. She got to live in another's shoes, and it was pretty uncomfortable walking. I hope she learned her lesson. Also, the school still needs to be notified. Bullying, regardless of the target, doesn't need to happen and the school shouldn't tolerate it. Not the asshole. The true asshole are your parents. They failed her, didn't correct her, and let her run rampant. I was bullied a lot, and was prepared to say no one deserves it, but a part of me says bullies deserve it. I don't blame you for what you did, and whilst it's never great to wish these things on someone, your sister needs a wake-up call. Not the asshole, you were harsh, but I think it was warranted, and you did it in private. You're not an asshole in this particular situation. She spent most of her life being one, and is reaping the rewards. If I understand correctly, because there was no mention of it in the post, your parents have made little to no attempt to correct her behavior. Under that assumption, they're even bigger assholes. Please correct me if the assumption is wrong. Edit. Op replied, I was right. Info. Do your parents know about your sister being a bully? Edit. Not the asshole. Your parents have known she's a bully for 10-ish years and done nothing. They aren't getting her help, and asking you to provide it isn't appropriate. Not the asshole. This is karma coming for your sister. I hope, as a person who was bullied and excluded as a kid, that she comes to understand the pain she inflicted on her victims.